Tales from the Crypt. What a great f***ing show, you know? And one of the reasons I love it so much is because it's from the late 80s and 90s, so it doesn't scare the underpants off me like a more modern show would. On a broader spectrum, it has to be one of the best horror anthologies of all time, and one of the most intense too. It was especially intense for its gore, which was actually pulled from the original EC comics from the 1950s, which the show was adapted from. And those comics were basically banned for their gore, but the TV show adaptation aired on HBO, which meant that they could do whatever they wanted, make it as gory as possible without any repercussions. The episode we're talking about today, called The Ventriloquists Dummy, is one of the episodes that stands out for its insane gore, and because of that it's terrifying. But don't worry, it has plenty of comedic relief dipped in there too. Also, this episode is widely regarded to be one of the best in the series, and I have to agree with that. It was one of my favourite episodes. Fuck me, that's a high rating. For those of you who don't know, which realistically you probably should know this, Tales from the Crypt is a horror anthology TV show, meaning that each episode is a different story entirely. When the creators were working on it, they actually made 2 different versions of each episode so they could decide which one was best. They were like the Walter Becker and Donald Fagen of TV. They were that meticulous. The show ran from 1989 to 1996 with 7 seasons and 100 episodes in total. Now that's a lot of seasons and episodes, but it's pretty cool that they stopped at exactly 100. Tales from the Crypt has had 3 movie spin-offs based on it, a game show with the Crypt Keeper as the host that aired on CBS on Saturday mornings, and even a kids cartoon called Tales from the Crypt Keeper. The show was created by William Gaines, who originally published the comics, and Stephen Dodd. It's not recognised for its creators, but something that does make it stand out is the amount of A-list guest directors and extremely popular actors who worked on it before they achieved notable fame. Tom Hanks, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Zemeckis each directed their own episodes of the show. And the actors that it launched careers for are Brad Pitt, Ewan McGregor, Daniel Craig and Patricia Arquette. The main theme for Tales from the Crypt was done by Danny Elfman, who composed many other horror movies, but most notably these 2 Tim Burton movies. So you already know it's good. But that's enough about the ins and outs of the show. Let's talk about the reason you're here, The Ventriloquists Dummy. It's the 10th episode of season 2 of Tales from the Crypt and first aired on June the 5th in 1990. It was directed by Richard Donner, and he's an absolute legend. He's the guy who made Superman, Lethal Weapon and The Goonies. But this episode is in no way on God's green planet his usual style, because this one that we're talking about today is full on horror, and as I mentioned, gory as hell too. Anyways, I'm Kai, this is Stop the Lights, so go ahead and switch off your lights because we're about to get into something creepy. And it's time for me to stop talking absolute rubbish and boring you to death. Let's get into the episode. The episode opens up with this guy called the Crypt Keeper. He pops up at the start of every single episode and basically tells the stories. But before he does that, he tells us a rubbish joke and gives us a taste of his obnoxious laugh. You haven't seen a Tales from the Crypt episode if you haven't heard his laugh. In this instance though, he pulls out a ventriloquist dummy, asks him if he wants to hear a tale from the crypt, and when he apparently says no, he throws him into the fire. And that's where the story unfolds. This ventriloquist, or comedian, by the name of Mr. Ingalls is on stage telling his jokes. One of them is that ducks go quack quack and geese go honk honk and...
If a pack of birds fly over and they go honk honk, what do? Pull over and let them pass!
I didn't find that very funny if I'm being honest, and neither did he.
And the fat guy better laugh!
And then the dummy tells a joke, but an actually good one that made me chuckle. The dummy says he...
I brought my girl here for dinner last night, and she found a bug in her soup.
She told the waiter to remove the insect, and...
The guy threw me out.
Backstage, a kid called Billy starts chatting with Mr. Ingalls. He tells him that he wants to be a ventriloquist himself when he grows up, but his mother is clearly not very happy with this. She says,
Nonsense, he wants to be a doctor, don't you, Billy?
Typical of parents. They always just expect you to grow up to be a lawyer or a doctor, one of the two. A woman comes into the dressing room and reminds Mr. Ingalls about their apparent date tonight. He says he's not feeling very well, but the dummy says otherwise and seems persistent about this date. And then he gives him this look, as if to say, shut the f*** up. It's starting to seem like this dummy has a mind of his own. Billy the Kid is chilling out on his bed with his signed poster from Mr. Ingalls when he hears some noise from outside. There's a fire. And then we're shown the poster of the dummy again. This signifies that something isn't right and evil is spreading. Then we cut forward 15 years later where Billy is a full-grown man. Hold on a second. This is apparently 15 years later, yet Billy looks like he's at least 40. He's supposed to be around 26 here. Anyways, he's become a ventriloquist. And he's paying a visit to the ventriloquist who influenced his decisions of becoming one, Mr. Ingalls, who's now retired, and this is his first time seeing him since he was a kid. Now, he's not a very jolly man, and we can tell by the fact that he's extremely pissed off by the fact that Billy is visiting him.
Is that Morty? I want to...
No, hey, don't touch that. Leave it alone, will you?
Billy finds out that Mr. Ingalls almost died in that exact same fire he saw from outside his window when he was 11 years old. And that woman that he went on a date with that night actually died in that fire. Mr. Ingalls says he doesn't even know how the fire happened, but he did lose his arm in it, so he hasn't performed with the dummy since then.
Why did you come, huh? To stir up old memories?
Billy tells him why he's performing tomorrow night for the first time and wants Mr. Ingalls to come see it and give him some advice. He says,
I'll think about it.
Now, I don't know about you, but the way he said that makes me think that he's definitely going to show up to that gig tonight. Even though 9 times out of 10, when someone says they'll think about something, they have absolutely no interest and it usually means no. He says, what do you think, Morty? Morty is the name of his ventriloquist doll. So this guy is all alone in his house now. Billy has left, he's just here by himself, and he's talking to his ventriloquist doll. So either Mr. Ingalls has lost the plot or his ventriloquist doll is alive. It's the night of his performance, and wouldn't you know it, Billy notices that Mr. Ingalls turned up to the gig.
He actually came. He's here. He's here.
By the looks of it, he's completely over the moon. But that doesn't age well, because when he gets up on the stage, he looks absolutely terrified.
Come on, put your hands together, come on!
That's the worst fucking thing that could happen to a ventriloquist. Bloody hell. If that was me, I'd just play it off and pretend it was part of the act. The dummy did better than Billy. At least he knew to keep his mouth shut.
Billy, my name's Billy.
And Billy!
The dummy cringed so much that he couldn't take it anymore, so he beheaded himself. His performance is so horrendous that when Billy announces that Mr. Ingalls is in the audience, Mr. Ingalls cringes and turns around to get away. Billy finds him and this is what he's told.
You had no technique, no concentration, and no material.
That's right, it may be harsh, but it's the truth. He needs this constructive criticism to give him a shove in the right direction, but then he tells Billy to look for another line of work. Now that right there is something that I would disagree with. I think as long as he learns from his mistakes and develops a bit of confidence, he'll be alright. Look at me being all wholesome and inspirational. Mr. Ingalls shows his soft side, telling Billy he's sorry. Then he says,
I know what it's like when your whole life's dream crumbles like dust in your hand.
This is in sharp contrast to earlier on when Billy knocked on his door. He was a complete prick that time. Billy leaves, but the ventriloquist doll is clearly still a part of Mr. Ingalls. It seems like it literally forces him to chat up this prostitute lady here. He tries to resist, but the temptation is way too powerful. I hope he doesn't cause her to die in a fire as well. Nope. Billy finds out that she's died in this car, and it's definitely the ventriloquist doll's doing. But the place does stink of gasoline, so in a way I was right. He actually did try to set her on fire to cover it up. Billy drives over to Mr. Ingalls' place, where he's injecting his arm with morphine. Billy takes it away from him, destroys it, and accuses him of killing the woman in the car, along with the woman in that fire 15 years ago. He objects to this and says that Morty, his doll, killed them, and that Morty hates women. So his f***ing doll is misogynistic, okay. Obviously Billy thinks he's crazy and tries to tell him that Morty isn't a threat. And then Mr. Ingalls tries to kill Billy with a machete, but obviously he's clearly being controlled by the doll, the ventriloquist dummy, Mr. Morty. Or Morty, whatever. And this is where he reveals Morty, who's attached to him like a f***ing parasitic twin.
Morty is my brother!
Morty!
I have so many questions. How does he wipe his ass? He's like this, he's like, and then Morty's like, you got some in my eye, you fucking bastard, I'm gonna get pink eye. I've got more questions too, you know, how does he have a wank? That's none of your damn business, you c***. There's just too many scenarios that wouldn't work out. He says that without the morphine he can't stop Morty, because apparently that's what calmed him down and stopped him being a lunatic. And then Morty goes on a rant about how Mr. Ingalls is nothing without him and how he wrote all of his jokes. And when Morty tries to force Mr. Ingalls to kill Billy, he resists. Instead, he slams the machete down on his own arm to sever Morty from his body. This episode came out in 1990 and yet it still holds up as being disturbing as hell. I actually struggle to watch this scene, but in all honesty, I am a guy who's squeamish at something as simple as needle injections, for feck's sake. Anyways, I'm gonna have to blur this part because it's gory as hell, and yeah, YouTube won't like that. They'll take this down. Apparently Morty is alive and well, and it turns out that the only reason he's popped up here is to say, "What the f*** is wrong with you? You're not subscribed to the channel, go subscribe." He runs over to Mr. Ingalls and bites his neck like a vampire. Billy is f***ing furious.
Alright, you little fucker! Park you in the cheap fucking seats!
Throughout the runtime of this episode, Billy just seemed like the chillest dude ever, with no care in the world, with the exception of that one time that he was absolutely distraught after tanking his performance. Now he's turned into a big tough guy.
You inbred fucking Cabbage Patch Kid!
Jeez, those insults are top notch. The things this guy conjures up in the spur of the moment are genius. If only he came up with these lines while he was on stage.
The pitch! Batter swing!
Oh shit, what a shot! F*** the ventriloquism. Billy should have taken up baseball or something. Well now, I have to say that I agree with what Mr. Ingalls said earlier on about finding a new career.
Billy, I suggest you look for another line of work.
Baseball, Billy. Maybe that's what you should have done.
I'm making an asshole casserole, pal, and you're the main ingredient.
Asshole casserole. That line is so good that I'll have to steal it for myself. Morty says,
I'll do anything you want.
Billy better not be gullible enough to listen to this little shit, because if he does, then perhaps the tables will reverse, and Billy might become the asshole casserole instead.
Anything?
Oh, the idiot listens to him, of course he does. We cut over to Billy up on stage performing. He's using Morty as his bloody ventriloquist dummy, and everyone is in stitches pissing themselves laughing at his jokes. What can I say? I'm a funny Are you upset that you're not? Yes, Morty, I am pretty jealous, I have to say. Morty spots an attractive woman in the audience and he can't keep his eyes off her.
Hubba, hubba, yow!
I mean, what can I say? It's just in his DNA. He can't help himself. Billy gets embarrassed, so he distracts Morty, but Morty just resorts back to the woman again.
Hey, baby, what are you doing after the show? Looks like we're stuck with each other.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to keep him alive. He's just bloody implanted himself into Billy's arm and chosen him as his next host. And that's where the episode ends. But the Crypt Keeper shows up to give us a bit of a conclusion, along with a few shitty jokes as well, of course. He says,
"What's the difference between an enzyme and a hormone? You can't hear an enzyme."
I'm joking, he didn't actually say that, and I'm just realising now that I just sounded like a mixture of Pennywise and Yoda when I tried to impersonate the Crypt Keeper. I stayed true to my word, what he actually said was in fact a shitty joke, and here it is.
Billy deserves a big hand, don't you think?
Followed by, the next time someone tells Billy he's no dummy, he can say,
"Wanna bet?"
Now that one was quite funny, in contrast to some of the other horrendous jokes that he's told in the past.
Be very careful what you ask for Christmas.
And of course, we can't leave the episode without hearing his iconic, obnoxious laugh. I wasn't expecting the twist ending that this episode had at all. A lot of the time when I watch anthologies like this, I anticipate the twist coming from a mile away. This one was different though, and it was so well written that I didn't see the twist coming at all. When Billy and Morty come to a compromise at the end, and then we cut forward to Billy performing on the stage with Morty, at first I thought it was a happy ending where Billy has a breakthrough performance without any repercussions. But then it shocks us by showing us that Billy became Morty's involuntary substitution after Mr. Ingalls died. That episode was probably one of the goriest Tales from the Crypt episodes I've seen. Surprisingly, it was almost completely clean for the majority of the episode, but then Mr. Ingalls pulls out a machete at some point and then the shit hits the fan. At first he was intending to use it on Billy, but then he talked him out of it. So in a way I am glad that he didn't do the same thing he did to his arm to Billy. but still that doesn't change the fact that I'm squeamish. I suppose that is the general layout of Tales from the Crypt episodes anyways, where they leave the most shocking visuals or actions to the end of the episode. I love the way that Billy found Mr. Ingles' performances as a kid so awe-inspiring and wanted to be like him more than anything else, even up until the age of 26, only to find out that Mr. Ingles was being controlled by a murderous conjoined twin yoke on his arm, who told all of his jokes. I'd love to know how Morty got so damn funny anyways. Even though he's an evil bastard, the guy is a comedic genius with impeccable timing. Maybe I'll go out and get myself an attachable Morty for my arm for these videos. Is it worth the compromise? You tell me in the comments below. It might make me funny. Anyways, that was the Ventriloquists Dummy, an episode from Tales from the Crypt, and a very gory one at that. And that's me for the day. Thanks for watching, and do let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me cover more Tales from the Crypt. I will be covering more Tales from the Crypt, but let me know what episodes you'd like to see me do. And do let me know if there's any episodes from other shows you'd like to see me do as well. Right, nice one. I'll see you. Good luck.